The last train that only the lost could board. A midnight mystery that changed a town forever. Some places don't die. They wait. Across the river towns, beyond the noise of traffic and generators, there once stood an abandoned railway station. Forgotten by government, swallowed by weeds, and erased from memory. No trains had passed through it in 17 years. And yet, on one impossible night, a train returned, not to carry the living, but to collect the forgotten. This is the story of that night, and the man who saw it. Malik was the last watchman, not because the job paid well it didn't, not because anyone cared. The station was scheduled for demolition in 3 weeks. Malik stayed because the silence kept him company. Every night, he sat on the same wooden bench with a weak lantern, a flask of bitter tea, and the soft hum of insects singing into the dark. The tracks in front of him were rusted and broken, swallowed by grass and time. This place used to breathe with life. Traders once filled the platform. Soldiers once passed through with dirt on their boots and fear in their eyes. Children once pressed their faces against the windows of passing trains, dreaming of cities they had never seen. Now, only Malik remained, and the ghosts of sound. At 12:07 a.m., the river went dark. Not gradually, not street by street. Everything gone. Across the water, thousands of lights were swallowed at once. The stars above sharpened suddenly, violent in their brightness. The night felt alert. Malik felt the vibration before he heard the sound. A low tremor passed through the wooden bench. Then, a train horn. Long, deep, impossible. No train had passed this line in 17 years. From the eastern tunnel, a single white light appeared. It wasn't flickering. It wasn't weak. It was steady, intelligent, deliberate. As the light grew larger, the rusted tracks began to tremble, metal singing softly as if waking from a coma. Weeds shook. Dust lifted into the air. Malik stood up so fast his lantern fell and shattered. When the train emerged, it looked wrong. To clean for something so old. No rust, no dirt, no reflection of stars on its surface. It looked like a memory that refused to age. The engine slowed until it stopped exactly where the ticket office once stood. The front door slid open. Inside the cabin, amber light glowed. And sitting alone on a wooden bench was a barefoot boy, no older than 12, holding a small wooden box in his lap. "You're late," the boy said calmly. Malik's throat tightened. "For what?" The boy tapped the box gently. "For remembering." Then the station filled with footsteps. They appeared from everywhere, not walking in from the road, not climbing over fences. They emerged from darkness itself. A railway worker with all blackened hands. A young trader clutching worn leather bags. A soldier with a cracked helmet and tired eyes. A nurse holding medical books to her chest. Different decades. Different lives. Same destination. They boarded the train in silence. Each one paused at the door and touched the wooden box in the boy's lap. With every touch, the box pulsed softly like a second heart beating beneath the wood. Then Malik saw her. His mother. The same blue wrapper. The same steady eyes. She disappeared during the river floods 20 years earlier. No body was found. No goodbye was spoken. Now she stood in front of him. Alive in memory. Dead in truth. "Go home," she said gently. "You've waited long enough." The door slid shut. The horn sounded once more, and the train moved. As it disappeared into the western tunnel, the wooden box flared with golden light, illuminating every face inside like living memories, before folding inward and vanishing completely. The vibration faded. The river lights flickered back on. Reality returned. But Malik was no longer the same. At sunrise, construction workers arrived early for reasons they could not explain. They found Malik sitting calmly on the platform, lantern unlit, eyes dry, peaceful. He resigned that morning. 3 months later, long after the station had been crushed into dust and weeds, a fisherman found a small wooden box, trapped between stones along the river bank. Inside were folded papers, names, dates, faces drawn in careful hands. Thousands of them. People who had disappeared with no records, no graves, no stories. From that day on, the river towns began to remember their missing. And Malik, for the first time in 20 years, Learned how to sleep without waiting for footsteps that would never return. Some say the train still returns, only when the world forgets too much, only when the silence becomes heavy, only when the lost have waited long enough. And if you ever hear a train horn where no tracks remain, you are not imagining it. You are being reminded. If you like this story, like, comment, and share. But don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stories like this.